Happening now, we're digging into Jamestown's crime rate and breaking down the startling statistics about that involving guns, what the police chief has to say, and helping those with disabilities, the new push now underway by state officials in New York. Plus, recalling Olympic gold, we check in with a couple in Findlay Lake about their time on the ice.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. The latest local news is coming up, but first, it's quite the time in the weather department. Joining us now live, Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, it's really been a roller coaster and will be a roller coaster over the next couple of days. We go from frigid cold, I hear, to warmth, to a little bit of flooding possible?
Oh, yes. The roller coaster of weather just continues. And this morning was another cold morning out there. 3 is where we started the day here in town. How about 5 below in Randolph? Okay, you want to go colder? How about 11 below zero this morning at the Mesonet site in Clymer? So again, but at least I can say after today, we are done with that for at least a little while. But yesterday was cold. The official high yesterday was 16. That officially ranks as the 6th coldest Valentine's Day on record for the city of Jamestown, dating all the way back to 1895. So it was a cold day yesterday. Things are kind of quiet across the southern tier. We have a band of lake effect snow coming across the Lake Ontario shoreline, but that's not going to impact us down here, and we should stay mainly dry for the afternoon. So quite cold today, but still not quite as cold as it has been. Partly to mostly sunny, 20 to 28 the high temperatures, and that southwest wind is going to be a key for warming us up, but we are going to see warmer temperatures over the next couple of days. Ice, snow melt, potential flooding. We've got it all but the kitchen sink. We'll talk about it with that Ultimate Satellite Solution 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota, quite the banquet coming up. Full weather. Don't miss it. Thank you, sir. Well, crime involving firearms in the city of Jamestown has increased over 50% just last year. That's according to statistics discussed with local lawmakers yesterday. Our Bronson Rasmussen has more on these troubling stats from the newsroom.
The city's council discussed the area crime rate at Monday's work session meeting with Jamestown Police Chief Tim Jackson. As Chief Jackson explains, in 2021, the department saw a 58% increase in criminal gun usage from 2020 and a 44% increase when considering the 5-year average.
Our confirmed shootings did go up from 19, or they went up to 19 from 12 in 2020, so an increase of 7. This year we seized 55 guns compared to 17 in 2020.
The total amount of illegal substances that the police confiscated increased as well.
Our cocaine seizures by grams, we were at 1,565.9 compared to 594.4 in 2020. So another huge increase there. Heroin increased 324 grams compared to 83.3. Fentanyl 835 compared to 292. And meth, another huge increase, 4,003 compared to 1,789.
In the past year, violent crime slightly decreased, with property crime dropping as well. The agency also furthered their presence in their community, with officers walking the beat and over 300 appearances at community events in the past year, a feat that the police chief hopes can quell the crime.
I'm proud to say this year the police department managed to lower the crime rate while also increasing our community engagement, which is, in the grand scheme of things, the best we can do. We're increasing our community presence, but we're also holding people accountable.
Meanwhile, the Jamestown Fire Department has seen a 10% increase in 911 calls, including EMS and fire emergency responses. The department has also completed multiple home inspections over the past year to help lower the amount of fires. In the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Bronson, thank you. A Jamestown pair is facing weapons charges after police allegedly recovered a loaded handgun during a traffic stop on Valentine's Day. City of Jamestown police pulled over 18-year-old Raven Medina and 20-year-old Jerome Westmanet on Barrett Avenue for an alleged traffic violation Monday afternoon. Following an investigation, officers say they recovered the weapon in the vehicle. Both are charged with second-degree criminal possession of a weapon and were held on arraignment today. Now, Medina police go on to say is also being charged with failure to signal a turn and unlicensed operation. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in recovering a John Deere tractor that was stolen from a northern Chautauqua County property this month. Deputies say the tractor was likely taken between February 1st and the February 4th from Versailles Road in the town of Hanover. The Sheriff's Office is sharing this image of what the tractor could look like, but note that this is not the actual tractor that was taken. The tractor in question was not equipped with a bucket at the time of the theft and has a fixed roll bar, not the folding roll bar seen in this photo. Investigators are asking for your assistance with any information that could lead to the arrest of those involved and or that could lead to the recovery of that vehicle. Tipsters are asked to contact 716-753-4232. And Chautauqua County District Attorney Jason Schmidt says New York's controversial bail reform has an impact on victims that often isn't talked about. Schmidt joined State Senator George Borrello and other regional leaders for a press conference last week to once again call on the state legislature and Governor Kathy Hochul to alter and potentially reverse the bail reform statute. Now, Chautauqua County's top prosecutor was asked by us about bail reform and victims. He says their stories and possibly their safety can be at risk, particularly for defendants who fail to appear in court.
When we don't get these defendants into court, we can't get orders of protection to protect them, and that's a real problem. Now, we have certain mechanisms in place, but the reality is that it's really, for the most part, when they show up at court that the victim's voice can actually be heard, and we don't have that available to us.
Now, the statute has been altered 3 times since it was originally passed in 2020. As WNY News Now continues, a look at the expanded push to help local businesses who are recovering from the pandemic's financial impacts. And later, we detail new resources for those that are struggling with disabilities here in the Empire State. Stay with us as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Now is the time to make your real estate move. Call us to list your home in Cattaraugus County. Choose the #1 real estate team in Ellicottville. Call Team Pritchard, 716-575-SELL. The market is hot. Call 716-575-SELL today.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The loan application period for local business impacted by pandemic financial struggles continues. Originally announced in September 2020, the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency was selected as the recipient of a $10.5 million grant through the CARES Act. enabling that agency to establish a new revolving loan fund. Well, since the launch, the business group has been able to assist more than 50 businesses and nonprofit organizations here in Chautauqua County, allowing them to remain open, therefore saving thousands of jobs and helping the economy rebound. Those interested in applying for the continued funding are asked to contact the CCIDA office at 716-661-8900 because funding is still available. And after a history of underrepresentation, the disabled community will finally have a voice in New York State government. As WNY News Now's Julia Gress reports, Governor Kathy Hochul announced the new office in the executive branch yesterday, called the Office of the Chief Disability Officer.
The office will advocate for people living with physical, developmental, psychiatric, sensory, and mobility disabilities, which Governor Kathy Hochul admits has been long overdue.
Employment levels, for example, are not what they should be. Look at the fact that 35% of people with disabilities, 18 to 64 living in New York State, are employed, 35% employed. That puts us at 38th out of 50 in the nation. That's not a category of statistic that I'm real proud of.
The governor hopes to level the playing field for those living with disabilities and that the new office will be able to hold those accountable that don't provide equal opportunities.
And housing issues. I mean, the complication behind getting something as simple as a home that meets your needs. And I'm investing with the support of the legislature, hopefully in a few more weeks, we'll get this through the legislature, a $25 billion affordable housing plan. Within that, tens of thousands of units for supportive housing.
The office will also help veterans with physical or psychological disabilities by increasing support for housing, services, and employment. Governor Hochul named Kim Hill as the state's first chief disability officer. Hill is known for her work in the New York State Assembly and a standing committee on people with disabilities. She also served as the director of the Assembly Task Force. The first moves by the office include granting $240 million to invest in schools for children with disabilities. Governor Hochul says this, amongst many other tasks, will keep Hill busy in her new position.
What I'm going to be doing in our budget is authorizing state agencies to designate up to 1,200 positions be filled by qualified people with disabilities. Let's give people a real shot, a meaningful chance.
The office will also expand the New York State Commission for the Blind's Business Enterprise Program. While Hill celebrated the win brought on by years of hard work, she also admitted the long list of issues the office must tackle.
And we've got a lot of issues. We've got home care, they're paid for home care, housing, education, employment, more ADA access, and improving access to all types of programs and services for all the state agencies that we're going to be working with.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. Nearly $2 billion in wagers were placed in the first 30 days of mobile sports betting in the Empire State. The governor's office announced the news yesterday, touting a record-breaking success in the program, more than any other state has ever reported in the sector. Specifically, the amount will rate more than $70 million in tax revenue for New York, providing funding to be allocated towards programming that supports education, youth sports, and more. The total gross gaming revenue was over $138 million, and at 51% tax rate for the state, officials say these wagers brought more than $70.6 million in tax revenue. Now, last year, the New York Gaming Commission was tasked with regulating wagering, which had previously been authorized by the legislature. Mobile sports wagering officially began last month on January 8th. Well, the 2022 elections are heating up, with primaries just 3 months away. For our neighbors down south, Pennsylvania has some very important statewide races this year, and one of them, the race for lieutenant governor. Our state capitol correspondent Brendan Scanlon introduces us to one of the Democratic candidates.
As a 10-year member of the legislature and as a son of 2 lieutenant colonels in the Army, Philadelphia Representative Brian Sims says he knows what's required for the job.
What we need from a lieutenant governor right now more than any time in contemporary history is experience and discipline.
Sims was the first openly gay person elected to the Pennsylvania legislature, and he would be Pennsylvania's first openly LGBT lieutenant governor.
I'm very, very proud to have been the first out person elected to our state legislature. I am much prouder of the fact that I was not the last.
We owe those in Pennsylvania.
Sims would also be the first civil rights attorney elected to the position. He He says fighting for equality has been a cornerstone to his career in public service.
My life's work is equality. It's represented in all the policy that I have brought to the General Assembly. It's represented in my time as a civil rights attorney and as a disability attorney beforehand.
With his background and experience in the legislature, he says he has what's necessary to carry out the three major roles of the lieutenant governor.
Chair the Board of Pardons, something that's a very serious job to correct some of the ills of our broken criminal justice system. It's to chair the Emergency Management Council. You know, when the governor calls an emergency order, it's the lieutenant governor's job to bring together the experts to resolve that. And it's oversight of the Senate, using the same rules that I have lived by with sort of through and under in the House for the last decade.
If elected, Sims would also fight for issues he's prioritized throughout his career.
The fights for women's and reproductive rights, racial and ethnic justice, criminal justice reform, LGBTQ civil rights, for the rights of immigrants and for the environment.
He says campaigning statewide, not just in areas like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, is how Democrats will be successful in 2022.
We need to do this together, and we've got to stop pretending that there's just two cities in this state.
Sims will square off with the other Democratic hopefuls on May 17th in the primary election. In Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon reporting.
Brendan, thank you. Coming up, we introduce you to an Olympic gold medal winning couple who spends a lot of time here in Chautauqua County. But first, when we return, a full look at our weather forecast, so stay with us as WNY News Now will be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
This winter, let New York State take your breath away. Come be a part of it. Plan your winter getaway at iloveny.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Well, welcome back, and wanted to start off with something very cool that happened yesterday morning. It's not aliens, folks. Regina took this picture of, you can see the lights kind of shooting up into the sky. It's not aliens. The world is not ending. They're called light pillars. And I thought we'd do a quick little Peg the Geek Meter segment on what light pillars are. Well, light pillars are basically just an optical illusion. It has to do with ice crystals that are suspended up into the atmosphere. And when you have the street lights, they ultimately kind of, the ice crystals kind of act like a mirror. So it kind of refracts the light back so you see it. So here you are, right there, little blue man group, and then you have the street light right here. So it's basically just mirroring an optical illusion that it looks like the lights are shooting up into the sky. They're called light pillars. They're really cool. And so thanks to Regina for that picture, because it's really cool and it gives us a chance to talk about something that I've kind of wanted to talk about for a while, which was light pillars. So, hey, we don't have any light pillars downtown right now, but we do have some sunshine. 25 degrees as a noon hour at the airport. The wind is overall light today, but There's still a wind chill of 18, so it's not as cold as it was yesterday, but there is going to be a warm-up on the way. And speaking about that warm-up, something we knew was coming. The National Weather Service has posted a aerial flood watch for all of western New York. I do expect this to be expanded into northwestern Pennsylvania, likely today or tomorrow. So here's what's going to be the impacts here. We're going to see snow melt. Temperatures shoot way up into the 40s, and then by the time we go into Thursday, we're talking lower 50s. So snow melt's going to be high on there. There could be the potential for ice jams on local streams and creeks as the ice breaks apart. We are going to see some rain coming our way on Thursday, and it turns windy as well tomorrow. So that will become a little bit of a factor through the day. It's quiet now, but it's not going to stay that way. Future scan shows you, quiet through the day. So enjoy today. At least it won't be as frigid. We will see some clouds returning through the overnight hours. We'll call tonight partly to mostly cloudy. We will stay uneventful. Tomorrow, I do think we will share the sky with some sun and clouds. Then by the time we go into Wednesday night, a warm front pushes up from the south. That surges warmer air in by the time we go through the day tomorrow. So temperatures actually overnight are going to rise overnight. Then the rain is going to continue through the day on Thursday. Notice we start getting into these darker colors. That starts to indicate some heavier bands of rainfall. So this is the 5-day quantitative precipitation QPF forecast from the Weather Prediction Center, and they are still going about 1 inch to 1.5 inches worth of rainfall Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then early Friday before it changes over to snow as we get a cold front to move through. So even with the snow melt, that'll cause maybe some localized flooding, but then when you add about 1 inch to 1.5 inches worth of rainfall on top of it, that could be enough to bring some of the local streams and creeks to their banks. So we'll watch it. So the next 7 days of your life, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions, shows you that big warm up there, 52 on Thursday, and then it's whiplash weather on Friday. Strong cold front moves through, changes the rain over to snow showers for Friday, but then it looks like the temperatures start to moderate again and we start going up by next Monday, Justin.
All right, Dakota, of course, we're going to keep our eyes on that flooding risk. Thank you, sir. Well, police announced yesterday the arrest of a 17-year-old accused of shooting a security guard after opening fire during a large fight outside of a Buffalo high school last week. The suspects, whose names were not released, is the second teen to face charges in connection with the dispute at McKinley High School. One student was stabbed 10 times and another grazed by a bullet after an argument that started earlier in the day, which spilled into a parking lot after school. The school security guard was struck in the leg as he rushed to intervene. 2 suspects, both 17-year-olds, are charged as adolescent offenders with attempted murder and assault. The security guard was treated at a hospital and released. A 13-year-old student was struck in the arm by gunfire, did not immediately seek medical attention. And lawyers for Russian figure skater Kamila Verneyev claim she failed a doping test before the Olympics because of contamination from her grandfather's medication. The Court of Arbitration for the sport ruled Monday that she can compete in the women's individual event despite testing positive for tranmazazine, a drug that medical experts say could give athletes an edge. Dennis Oswald is the chairman of the International Olympic Committee's Disciplinary Commission. He says that her lawyers brought some doubt about her guilt when their possible explanation of the accidental rather than deliberate doping.
There is a fair chance that you would not give the right medal to the right team. And it's why we decided it's wiser, until we don't have clarity on the case, not to attribute medal.
She helped the Russian team win gold last week and is the favorite for the women's event starting today. Well, as Russian troops continue to surround Ukraine, President Joe Biden is urging all Americans in that country to evacuate immediately. He spoke with both the Russian and Ukrainian presidents over the weekend, hoping for a peaceful solution between the two. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp is hearing from our local congressional members about the situation.
Our congressional members are monitoring the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine and hope it'll resolve through diplomatic measures. They worry Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions are speaking louder than these diplomatic talks. But Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Bob Casey tell me they're confident the U.S. and international community will work together to diffuse the tension.
President Biden is trying to work with our allies multilaterally to create stability in the region and to try to convince Russia that a kinetic action in Ukraine would be a mistake.
If Vladimir Putin carries this to the next step and invades Ukraine, the kind of bipartisan crushing financial sanctions that so many of us have supported have to be brought to bear to make it clear to him that when he takes that kind of offensive action, the international community is going to take steps to deal with it, and the United States is not going to stand by and allow it to happen.
Representatives Glenn Thompson and Fred Keller are criticizing Biden's handling on this situation. They look back on Biden's troop withdrawal from Afghanistan and worry Biden lacks strong foreign policy.
His administration has emboldened thugs and bullies and bad actors and terrorists to do bad things. And so most recently, we're seeing that in how Russia has amassed over 100,000 troops on the border of the Ukraine.
Their priorities are more about the woke culture with our military, climate change and all these other things, right? Rather than energy independence, standing up for our allies and making sure our adversaries don't have resources with which they can wage war.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. And from the world stage to our backyard, where 2 Olympic gold medal winning figure skaters are spending time in nearby Finley Lake. As Erie News Now's Lisa Adams reports, Carol Hess Jenkins and her husband Hayes Jenkins each earned Olympic gold during their time.
You look at the medal and you think, oh, I've got it. I did it. This was my goal. This was my dream.
Talk about a gold medal couple. Carol Heiss and Hayes Jenkins not only fell in love with the sport of skating at a young age, each winning Olympic gold, Hayes in 1956 and Carol in 1960, but also fell in love with each other.
We started spending a lot of time together in 56, that Olympics, and then Worlds, and then we toured Europe together.
And as part of the elite club of U.S. Olympic gold medal figure skaters, the group chatted as they watched Nathan Chen's stellar victory.
And as the program went on, I thought, oh, he's awesome. He's skating so well.
I wanted him to win, sort of a patriotic sense, and for U.S. skating. But I wanted him to win for himself.
Then welcomed him to the gold medal club in this special video.
Again, congratulations, Nathan.
Carol Heiss showed us her silver medal from Cortina, Italy. Medals came in boxes then. And Hayes gold from the same games. Her Olympic gold performance came 4 years later in Squaw Valley, boxed in California Redwood, the first televised Olympics with a lot more pressure.
My expectations of myself, the expectations of the U.S. figure skating world, as well as internationally. I mean, they expected me to get the gold medal. So it wasn't as much fun.
And a win that vaulted her to stardom with magazine covers and beauty shots, even to Hollywood to do a movie with the Three Stooges.
So there was quite a fuss about it. And it was exciting, but it was also surprising.
Oh, and by the way, Hayes' brother David Jenkins, also in the Olympic Gold Club, taking the men's Olympic figure skating gold in 1960, the same year Carol won hers. So how has the sport changed?
Do you see it as a lot different than when you were skating?
Oh, yes. I mean, everything is different. The boots, the blades, the costumes, and the quad jumps. I mean, it's just... the girls have to do triples, and now it seems like they're going to have to do at least one quad.
And what of the pressure Olympic athletes are clearly feeling these days? Carol said they need to tune out the tweets and find quiet time to focus.
Really, it's important to stay away from that, off that, and not listen to what everyone's saying, and just get into your own bubble and focus on what you need to do.
Hayes said his brother expressed best what it feels like when a gold medal winning Olympic performance is over.
And somebody asked him what your feelings were. He said, my feelings were, thank goodness I don't have to do that again.
Lisa Adams, Erie News Now.
Oh, Lisa, thank you. 2 greats there in that sport, and it really is incredible to see the amount of talent that is on display and how much generational talent we really do have. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. That's going to do it for our newscast today. We'll leave with this shot over Findlay Lake today. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, live at noon.